here at home. Let's bring in Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina as a key member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I suspect you liked what you heard from this president.
Not particularly.
What didn't you like?
Well, I like the idea that we may have an enduring relationship past 2014 where we have American air bases, joint bases that can make sure the Taliban never come back. But
did you hear him say that all U.S. troops would be out of Afghanistan by the end of 2014?
Here's what I think the story is. Petraeus loses, Biden wins, and I respect the vice president, but I think we've undercut a strategy that was working. I think the 10,000 troops leaving this year is going to make this fighting season more difficult. Having all the surge forces leave by next summer is going to compromise next summer's fighting season.
There'll still be 70,000 U.S. troops in Afghanistan.
But I think we're creating momentum to undercut the counterinsurgency strategy, and we're going to a counterterrorism strategy too soon. And here's what I worry. Will our allies follow suit? Will they say America's leaving in large numbers by next summer? Will they accelerate their footprint in terms of leaving? Will Republicans say, I had a lot of confidence in General Petraeus's plan, but this adjustment, in my view, makes General Petraeus's original plan harder to achieve, unnecessarily risky? And will they say, if we're going to not be successful, let's end it sooner?
Because even White House officials say that there are only between 50 and 75, maybe 100 al-Qaeda terrorists in all of Afghanistan right now, maybe 25,000, if that, Taliban fighters, 100,000 U.S. troops going down to 70,000 by the end of next summer, 40,000 NATO troops. There are 300,000 Afghan troops and police trained by the United States and NATO. How many troops do you need to fight 25,000 Taliban fighters?
Lindsey Graham is not the best person to tell you that. General Petraeus is. This is the man who I think has earned the respect of all of Americans. If his judgment was overruled in a substantial way, I think that is a huge mistake. I'm not a military commander. I'm a military lawyer. I know that Senator Obama was dead wrong about Iraq. I know that Senator Biden was dead wrong about Iraq. And what I fear, and I'm not sure that this is going to become a reality, is that because of the war weariness of this country, that we have taken a strategy that I had a lot of confidence in and compromised it in a way that I think may have eventually doomed it to fail.
I want you to listen to what Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia told me earlier today, and it's relevant, especially in the light of what the president said, that it's time to focus on nation building in America as opposed to nation building in Afghanistan. Listen to Manchin.
Well, let me tell you the numbers that I have heard and I have seen has been given to me. We've spent $443 billion to date. We're on track to spend another $485 billion, Wolf. That's almost $1 trillion. Now, I can tell you we can ill afford that type of expenditure and basically have a country that doesn't have an economy, that does not have an infrastructure, and by all accounts has a corrupt leader. You can't continue down this road and think you're going to get success.
Now, he's saying another $500 billion between now and the end of 2014. Is that money well spent by U.S. taxpayers?
After the Russians left Afghanistan, the Taliban took over. They took women in soccer stadiums and killed them for sport. They invited bin Laden as the honored guest, and we looked the other way. They blew up statues of Buddha figures, and out of that, 20 hijackers were given less than $1 million to kill 3,000 Americans. How much money have we spent since 9/11?
But you don't think that Hamid Karzai, the democratically elected president of Afghanistan, and his 300 military and police forces are capable of preventing that scenario from occurring?
I think General Petraeus had a strategy of transition that made sense to me. I think the president rejected a modest withdrawal in 2011, that he's accelerated withdrawal in 2011 and 12 that could compromise our ability to maintain the gains we have fought so hard. The Afghan security forces are better, but not yet able to sustain the fight without our help. NATO allies are more likely to leave at a faster pace now. Republicans may look at this as a rejection of Petraeus. And at the end of the day, no politician in this country, as much as I respect Joe Biden and President Obama, has it right in terms of Afghanistan. Joe mentions a fine fellow. He's never been to Afghanistan. I've been there many times.
Yes, he is. He says he's been there twice.
Okay, I take that back.
He was there in 2006 and in 2011.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, I've been there a lot, and I have seen with my own eyes how things have gotten better, and I can tell you that if we don't keep the momentum, the fight is in the South is better, we've got problems in the East, and I worry that this accelerated drawdown that General Petraeus did not recommend may have the consequences of undermining a very successful strategy. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope the president's
I'll just point out, because White House officials, administration officials say that within the range of what General Petraeus was okay with, the president came down within that range, although I suspect that he came down a lot closer to what Biden wanted as opposed to what General Petraeus wanted. I think you're right on that, but they will say that Petraeus is on board. We'll hear from him. You'll have a chance to hear his testimony, because he's going to be the next CIA director.
Lindsey Graham doesn't enjoy war. Lindsey Graham would like everybody to come home as soon as we can, but I never want to go back. What we leave behind will be our ultimate judge of our national security. I want to leave behind a functioning national security footprint, Afghan troops that can sustain their own security. I'm afraid we may have compromised 2 fighting seasons at a time when it wasn't necessary, and time will tell. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong.
Thanks for your service, too. I know you've served in the U.S. Air Force Reserves in Afghanistan as well.
I've done very little.
Thanks very much, Senator Graham, for coming in.
Thank you.
Let's